What's up, Trader's Edge? It's Mark Sebastian, your only option, and this is your look at the week ahead. Today, we're going to look at what major economic events are happening. We're going to talk a little bit about geopolitics. We're going to look at the SPX, the Qs, and we're going to definitely look at the VIX because the VIX is in play. We're also going to talk a little bit about oil, and we'll look at a couple of stocks I'm watching. So with that, let's dig in. All right, folks. So, economic-wise, we got a pretty big week. I think we have 17 Fed speakers because, you know, we don't hear enough from them. So let's get some more Fed speakers going. From an economic standpoint, the big stuff is all later in the week. The big one being Thursday. We have CPI on Thursday, PPI on Friday. Those have been movers. The other thing, pay attention to initial jobless claims. That seems to move markets now. It's a little odd. It had stopped mattering, but it's back. All right, so let's look at the market. Kind of an interesting day week last week. We kind of went nowhere. And by that, I mean on the 25th, the market closed 57.22, and we closed the week at 57.51. We moved $30. And really, from the beginning of the week when we closed, you know, we really didn't do anything at all last week. Opening on Monday, market is down a little bit less than 1%. You know, we're seeing the VIX pop, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but we are just seeing kind of the market kind of sit in one spot. And what is this bringing us? Well, let's start with average true range. This is how much the market is moving on kind of a daily basis, both up and down. And average true range has been falling off a cliff. On the 19th, it was up at almost 74. It's now below 58. Good for about 1% movement a day. That's going to be about a 16 VIX, 15 VIX. Realized volatility, how much we're moving from close to close. That has really plummeted. 10-day realized vol is down to below 8, and 20-day is below 10. So when you look at how much we're moving, volatility is, you know, actual movement is giving us a move under of a VIX of like 13. And yet here we are, we have a VIX of 23. What is going on? The answer, geopolitics and a little bit of fear. All right. So let's just start with our levels in the SPX. SPX, you got to watch this 21-day moving average. That's 56.67. Call it $20 below where we are. Then we break there. Then you're talking, can we get back to the 50? No, the market could be due for a breather, especially if we continue to see some pressure out of geopolitics. So we're talking, you know, we could maybe break 5,600. Qs look a little worse than the S&P. They never really recovered. We've been talking about this. They did break the highs from August on this last move, but we're back below those highs. The level that we're watching is these levels down here, right? I think we're going to break the 21-day. That's 478. Question is, do we get back into the 50, and do we get a retest of this 150 that we've hit now twice? Qs look soft. Watch Apple. I was astounded by this, but I want to kind of point you. I'm going to pull up a 5-day chart on a compare. And I want to point out how tightly Apple and the market are moving together. When Apple softens up, the market dies. When Apple rallies, it takes the market with it. So the softness in Apple, what we've been seeing with weakness in Apple, that is really the key here. Money exiting Apple is money actually leaving the market. Apple is the safe haven. So if you see money leaving Apple, that is the world telling you it's risk off. If you see money leaving Apple, That is the risk-off trade. Apple is right at the 50-day moving average. We get a real break below there, we could be at 216 quickly. Money leaving Apple is the market telling you it's risk-off. All right, now last I want to look at the Russell 2000, down 1.3%. Continues just kind of hold pattern. I eventually think this one will pop once markets calm down. But let's get to the elephant in the room. That's the VIX. VIX is now at the highest level we've seen essentially since September 4th. And really, the way it's rallying, it's the highest. It looks like it's getting ready to break out. VIX futures term structure, we are in full backwardation. That is almost never bullish. And the market looks like it could completely fall apart here. So what's causing this? Geopolitics. Look at oil move higher. There is some real fear that things are going to get real messy real fast in the Middle East. That is driving fear. That is driving tensions. That's driving this great rotation into oil names and out of even safe haven names like Apple. The other piece of news is Google getting just face slapped. Negative news out of Google was also really negative news for Apple. That losing their monopoly on their app store applies to Apple as well. It's a real problem. So that is, I believe, an issue for Apple, an issue for Google. Keep an eye on those two, especially, like I said, especially Apple. But the VIX is pricing in something major for the markets. So the VIX is at 23, and movement is priced. It really should have the VIX at 13. So what does that mean? I think we're due for a 3-4% move. Now, I laid out how I would want to play that with my traders over the last day or two, but I think we're due for, I think we could potentially see a 2 or 3% move in the next day or two. There's something brewing here, some fear building up. It could be a move to the upside. It could be a move to the downside. But I believe there is a major move priced in. When you see the VIX entering backwardation, that tends to be bearish. So what stocks am I watching? Well, I already brought up Apple. Keep an eye on Amazon. Amazon has low-key gotten slapped around the last couple of days. It did get a nice bounce, but now it looks like it's heading to the 50-day. Just looks kind of ugly there. I'm watching GE. It's been kind of in this holding pattern, and I'm waiting for it to decide whether it's going up or down. I'm watching NVIDIA. That's the other market safe haven. You see NVIDIA and Apple both down big on the same day. That is when it's time to hit the exit button on everything, because that's telling you things are bad. And then Meta. It was up over $600 at one point today and is now down on the day. I think there's some real risk. We're seeing some real risk off in the Mag 7. I got to tell you, I think some puts with NVIDIA being the only name up. This is one I might be looking to short overnight. I think the market looks a little sick. All right, folks, if you're watching me on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're watching me in an email, hey, in this email is an invite to join me and Vaz on Wednesday for Trade to Close for free. You got to join. All right, folks, leave a question, leave a comment, and I will answer it if you're watching me on YouTube. Again, please like and subscribe. That's kind of your look ahead at what's going to happen this week. Tread lightly, because there's definitely some real explosiveness building up here, and I want you to be prepared. All right, folks, I hope you have a wonderful trading week. I'm Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a good one.